The critics who pounced on the Attorney General today said he acted like his client is the president and not the American people as our chief law enforcement officer. James Comey, whose firing started it all, posted a piece in the New York Times just as the hearing got underway. He offered a theory on how the president co-opts people like Bill Barr, and he wrote, quote, "Trump's outrageous conduct convinces you that you simply must stay to preserve and protect the people and institutions and values you hold dear. Along with Republican members of Congress, you tell yourself you are too important for this nation to lose, especially now. Of course, to stay, you must be seen as on his team, so you make further compromises. You use his language, praise his leadership, tout his commitment to values, and then you are lost. He has eaten your soul." Back with us again tonight, Pulitzer Prize-winning author and presidential historian Jon Meacham. John, I want to know where we are tonight as a country, and before you compare this to any other moment in hearings we have loved in the past, I watched the coverage tonight on two different cable networks. Here's a hint. One of them employs us both, and they apparently covered two different hearings today. So that's something new for American society, relatively.
Well, we do live on separate political planets, and hopefully we occasionally have diplomatic relations between the two. I'm going to use a fictional analogy, if I may, but based on history. I thought where we were today was in a reality TV version of A Man for All Seasons, where Thomas More is betrayed by Richard Rich in exchange for Wales. He's granted a title in Wales, and Thomas More says, as he's being carried off, "But for Wales, Richard, for Wales, put in the word Trump and change the name to Bill, and you have where we are." Bill Barr has decided that, for whatever reason, his historical fate is in safer and better hands with Donald Trump than with the rule of law or with Robert Mueller. And so, and I guess in this analogy, Mueller becomes Thomas More, which may be a beat too far. But we watched someone today basically historically decide that they would like the rest of the American Republic to look back and use this man as a case study in how to obfuscate and cherry pick in defense of a particular client as opposed to the broad nation as a whole. And this isn't really even a partisan point. It's clear. I mean, I was watching it thinking, I hope this guy goes back into private practice soon, because I might need to hire him at some point. He'd be a good defense lawyer. You'd want him on your side. He has that laconic, almost Cheney-esque, jowly cynicism that tends to try to appear. He tries to make the questioner appear to be the outrageous one, when what the questioners are doing is exercising their rights under a constitution that was based on divided sovereignty. And right now, it seems to me, we have an attorney general who has decided that he's a defense lawyer. He's not our lawyer.
To thine own self be true. And does Robert Mueller's reputation remain where it was? Is he just about, to a lot of people, the most important living American at this point in time?
You know, 4 weeks ago, I thought, you know, the great Mueller moment had probably passed, that our sense that he was our Fortinbras, that he was the heroic figure who was going to come down, you know, that moment had passed, that his decision to follow the OLC opinion as opposed to trying to litigate or adjudicate whether you could indict a sitting president seemed to me, as a layman, he had ducked on a critical issue. Bill Barr has now done something I didn't think was possible, which is he has re-elevated Robert Mueller to almost sanctified status. Perhaps after Director Mueller testifies, if that ever happens, perhaps he falls back off that pedestal. But compared to what the Attorney General has been doing, Director Mueller, looks like maybe Thomas More is not a bad example.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why our guest tonight has a Pulitzer Prize and I have a valid driver's license. Jon Meacham, always a pleasure. Please come back. Thank you, sir, very much for joining us on this, as we say, consequential Wednesday night.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.